So here's the big question. Will the US actually invade Venezuela? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a political thriller, doesn't it? But this is a real debate, happening right now online and even in the highest corridors of power. All right, let's get right into it.
So what kicked all this off? Well, it started right where so many modern debates do, on Reddit. A user posted this, basically saying, change my view, the US is going to attack Venezuela soon. And that sparks this huge conversation. And look, this isn't some fringe theory. People are seriously debating this right now.
Okay, so this isn't just an internet thing. Back in 2017, President Trump reportedly walked into a meeting with his top advisors and asked, hey, why can't we just invade Venezuela? And according to The Guardian, the room was just stunned. His own national security team. That one question, it yanks this whole debate out of the hypothetical and drops it right into the real world of geopolitics.
So to really get why this idea just won't go away, we've got to look at the political arguments for going to war. I mean, why would any leader today think that choosing conflict is a good move? At its core, the idea is pretty straightforward. War isn't just about military objectives. It can be an incredibly powerful political tool. Think about it. For any leader who's, struggling with problems at home, a war overseas can look like this huge gamble that might just pay off and totally change the conversation.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because we have a modern playbook for this. One Reddit user brought up what happened after 9/11. President George W. Bush's approval ratings went through the roof. It's that classic rally round the flag effect. It's this powerful thing that can turn a president into a strong, decisive wartime leader, at least in the public's eyes.
So, what's the big takeaway from that whole online debate? It's that the motivation might not be about something noble, like, say, liberating a country. It could be about pure politics. You create a distraction, you look tough, you rally your base as a wartime leader, and hey, maybe you even send a message to rivals like Russia. And you get to do all that without actually fixing the tough stuff back home.
All right, but that's just one side of the story. Now we got to flip the coin and look at the massive counter-argument, the absolutely crushing cost of fighting a war today.
And this quote from another user, it just nails it. The whole point is that wars today just aren't profitable, like at all. They destroy wealth, they don't create it. If they did, a country like the United States would probably be in way more of them.
And we don't have to look far for proof, right? It's still fresh in our minds. The long, grinding wars in Iraq and Afghanistan taught the U.S. an incredibly painful lesson. Trying to occupy a country and change its government is unbelievably expensive, not just in money, but in lives and stability.
And this right here, this lays out the whole tug of war perfectly. On one side, yeah, you've got those possible short-term political wins. But on the other side, the costs are staggering. A massive drain on the economy, heartbreaking casualties, and the risk of leaving behind a total mess. It's like one person said, you're literally just burning money and burning manpower. There's no other way to put it.
But okay, let's zoom out a bit. It's not just about money and politics. Any decision like this is made on a global stage that's already really crowded. No country makes a move like this in a vacuum.
So, according to some top-tier analysis, the whole world's game plan got turned upside down in 2022. The big idea among Western powers was to pivot, to focus on the Indo-Pacific. And then, bam, Russia invades Ukraine. And suddenly, everyone's focus snaps right back to Europe.
And if you look at this breakdown of U.S. priorities, it's pretty revealing. Priority 1, Russia and Europe. Priority 2, China and the Indo-Pacific. Then you've got the Middle East. You see Russia, you see China, you see the Middle East. What don't you see? Yeah, Latin America. A brand new war there just doesn't fit the current strategic map.
This quote from that same survey really hammers it home. Before Ukraine, everyone had agreed the future is in Asia. That was the plan, a settled strategic consensus. Kicking off a major conflict in its own backyard would be a gigantic detour from what America's top minds see as the main event.
Which brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial point of this whole thing. What if the whole question, will the U.S. invade, is just the wrong question to be asking in the first place?
Yeah, this is the core of it. Because when you hear attack, what do you picture? Tanks rolling down a street, right? Soldiers on the ground? But is that the only way to intervene anymore? Or even the most effective way? The debate suggests, probably not.
First up, you've got covert ops. These are the behind-the-scenes moves, the actions nobody is supposed to know about. And, like that Reddit user pointed out, this isn't some James Bond movie stuff. This is just how the world works, and embassies are often ground zero for it.
Next, you've got something called economic statecraft. And this one is huge. Just look at what happened with Russia. We saw this get unleashed in a way we've never seen before.
Using sanctions, freezing assets, you can absolutely cripple another country's economy without ever firing a shot. It's a primary weapon now.
And finally, there's good old diplomatic pressure. This is about building a team. Look at the strategy with Venezuela's opposition leader, Juan Guaidó. The U.S. officially recognized him as the real leader, and then you get over 50 other countries to do the same. Suddenly, Nicolás Maduro's legitimacy on the world stage just evaporates.
So you put all these pieces together, and what do you get? You get the modern playbook for intervention. You start with diplomacy. You use covert means. You squeeze them with sanctions. A full-on invasion with military force? That's not step one. It's the absolute last resort, the break glass in case of emergency option that you use only when everything else has failed.
And that leaves us with one final big question. This whole debate about invading Venezuela. It really peels back the curtain on what conflict looks like today. So as warfare keeps evolving, maybe the biggest threat isn't the one you can see coming, but the one that's already happening right under the surface.